At the end of this mini chapter, you should be able to understand the DSM-5 criteria of catatonia and categorize them based on the 3F scheme. I would like to talk about the diagnostic features of catatonia, which can oftentimes be confusing and easy to forget. The Bush-Francis catatonia rating scale lists 23 symptoms. The DSM-5 gives 12 core symptoms. I will focus on the core features from the DSM-5. Oftentimes, people who experience catatonia report that they felt anxious when they were catatonic. Interestingly, a lot of the symptoms human beings feel when they are anxious because of being in danger are experienced by patients with catatonia as well. I think about the core symptoms in 3 categories. I call these 3 categories the 3 Fs: fight, freeze, and fit in. Let's look at the fight category first. What are some signs that you're ready to fight? Well, first of all, you could be agitated, right? Secondly, you could be grimacing. Your face is showing threats. It's showing it's ready to fight. It's showing anger. You might be squinting your eyes. You also might make odd purposeful or repetitive purposeless movements, signaling danger and threat. Here we call them mannerisms and stereotypies. And we sometimes do the opposite of what we are asked to do, or do the opposite of what is expected from us. This can take our opponent by surprise and give us a comparative advantage. We call this negativism. Let's move on to the freeze category. The category most people I think are familiar with. What does a squirrel do if it sees a snake? Well, it might freeze to death. This phenomenon is known as tonic immobility. It is a way of avoiding or deterring predators. The state of tonic immobility has a lot of similarities with catatonia symptoms, such as stupor, mutism, and other symptoms, such as rigidity, which is just a sign that our muscles are frozen. If they're really stiff, you can't move them anymore. Also, imagine you are afraid and freeze to death. You're not able to move from one second to another. You might not even be able to reposition yourself, even if this means that some of your body parts remain in positions against gravity. In catatonia, we might call this posturing or catalepsy. Lastly, let's look at the fit-in category. If we do not freeze or are ready to fight, we can still pretend we do not exist. If we blend in with our environment, it appears as we are no longer there. If we don't stand out from our surroundings, chances are we don't get hurt. One way how this manifests in catatonia is through echolalia, where we just mimic someone else's speech, or echopraxia, where we mimic someone else's movements. These phenomena might confuse people up to the point where they think that they see a reflection of themselves. And obviously you don't want to hurt yourself. Our goal today was to be able to understand the DSM-5 criteria of catatonia and categorize them based on the 3F scheme.